at that like retreat. And we just kept in contact, like on Facebook. I would reach out to her here and there. And then she actually started talking about human design. So I reached out to her and I was like, what is this human design thing? And at that time, it wasn't the right moment. I was like, nah, I looked into it. It didn't inspire me. I was like, no, I don't want to go down that road. And then 6 months later, it popped up again. And I Voxered her. And I'm like, Annalena, what is this human design thing? Right. So at that point in time, what I decided to do was I have a tendency to go all in and learn all the stuff. And I didn't want to do that if it wasn't right for me. So I bought a book and I read the book within like 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, so now this feels really interesting to me. So at that point in time, I connected with her again, asked her who she studied with, and then I signed up for all 4 levels and like started diving deep into human design. And I know it came to me at the right timing because, like you said, it shows up for us. And it would really, for me, I had done a lot of the work already. I thought I had already known myself, but I always questioned, like, am I making this up? Is this really true about myself? Right? So what human design gave me really is when I saw that chart and I started diving into my chart, it was like the bow on the present. It's like, no, you are not making this stuff up. This is exactly who you are. This is exactly your journey. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And also it gave me the confidence to be more bold in it because I always question. I have the gate 48, which is all about inadequacy. It's in my sun. So it's 70% of my chart, this inadequacy. So there's a lot of inadequacy and self-doubt in like what I'm doing. Now, the highest expression of that is wisdom. And the reason that is because I dive in and I learn all the things. So I know a lot more than I think I know. So with that alone, I was able to break away from my fears, believe in myself, and not hold back anymore because I knew I was actually here to create more impact and through my inadequacies and learnings.
Oh, I'm like so juicy. And I feel that everyone who actually digs in finds that piece, that little piece that's like, okay, this is our hardship, but yet that's where our magic is also created.
Right. It shows you what your lessons are, really, what you're here to learn, right? It shows you what you're going to struggle with. It shows you like really what you're here to talk about, what you're here to be of service, what energy you're here to be. Because through the lens of human design, our purpose is not what we're here to do at all. It's really who we're here to be. But what happens is when we align energetically with who we are doing and being at the same time. So you get to be the light that you're here to be with whatever you choose to do as your work, which is what I love about the entrepreneurship and working with leaders and entrepreneurs. It's because it's the energy that you be. It's not what you do. So if you're out of alignment in some way, you just need to tweak that, stay grounded into your earth gates. And then you step into the sun gates, which is the energy that you're here to be. And you can do that in so many, many ways. So it's all on how you be in each moment.
Ooh. And I've been talking about that a lot on this podcast versus the human being versus the human doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so important that we do need to allow ourselves to be who we are and let go of what society tells us, especially as entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs and healer entrepreneurs, and in this whole new realm. Something that I was opened up to, and I know you are also, you and your business partner also talk about, is like using human design to create these quantum leaps in your life and in your business. And I think it does start with that being piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what happens is when you're being, it's not hard. You're just being, and you're like, depending on your type, you follow your strategy. You're following your strategy with trust. You're just being. And what happens is then the quantum leaps happen and you just reflect back on it and notice, wow, that was a leap. I didn't realize that happened because I was focused on being who I'm here to be and what lights me up. And yeah, that is what we really focus on, and even working together with the things, we've talked about quantum leaps before. And when I reflect back on how we started our business and how we quickly started our certification, it was a quantum leap, because we started a business on February of this year. We did a masterclass. We enrolled people into our certification like in March. And now we have people in our certification. Our second one's going to launch. And this is since February of this year. It's like, that's a leap. When you are being who you're here to be, you're trusting the process, you're resting when you need to rest, you're responding when you need to respond, then it's easy and it's not exhausting.
Ooh, easy, effortless success. Yes, yes, yes. So out of curiosity, because I know that we are both manifesting generators, that we're here to respond, is that something that every type of human design does, or do other people get to do things other than respond?
Yes, they get to do other things. So, and manifesting generators and generators both respond, but there's a different way about it. So manifesting generators, our type, we are here, we have some of the manifestor power, so we can be very fast when we are inspired. We skip steps, and sometimes we have to go back and fix those steps, but sometimes we don't have to, which is wonderful, because that's what we're here to do, is to create in a fast way, try to skip steps. So we wait to respond to things, and then we skip steps, and then sometimes have to go back. Okay. Now the generator type, they wait to respond to things, but they don't skip steps. They're kind of a steady pace. So they are here for mastery. They do step by step by step. Now they never have to go back to fix anything because they get it right the first time, because they're steady. So they still wait to respond, and then they take that steady process. Now the projector, they, and I just want to say, manifesting generators and generators make up 70% of society. The projector makes up 20%. They actually have to wait to be invited or recognized to be able to do things within their business or to respond, but it's by invitation. The reason that is because projectors have a lot of open areas, which means there's a lot of white areas in their chart. So they take in other people's energies, and they see other people's energies more than they see their own, because they take in so much. So they have to have the space for self-care, release that energy, go out in nature, make sure that they're rested, hydrated. Like, there's a lot of self-care for projectors. And if you're not doing that self-care, you won't receive those invitations. So if at any point in time, if you're a projector, you feel like you're having to go initiate or do something to be seen or heard, first of all, you're going to feel bitter, because no one's going to see and hear you, because you're exhausted and you don't have the energy to fulfill that. And secondly, all you need to do is step back, have some self-care, and then you'll receive those invitations. So it's like invitations, like emails, people reaching out, signs, or, invitations for that next direction or next step. Then there's the manifestor, which is, they're the true initiators. So basically, they are the people that get to initiate and get to do when they are inspired. They're what we are all taught we should be. And they are only 9% of the society. Wow. So what happens for them is they receive those downloads, they feel inspired in their body, they go and initiate it, but they're like a sprinter. So they have all of that initiation power, and then they're exhausted. So they have to take a nap. So the manifestors I've worked with, when I tell them, take naps when you're tired, when you wake up, you'll get that sprint again, and you'll get so much more done rather than making yourself push through. They are so thankful, because they're like, oh my gosh, I get to take a nap, because they have that power that is so powerful that it just disperses and then it's gone. So they get to initiate, but they need all of us to help support them in following through and everything. And then the last is the reflectors. They're definitely not the last, because they're the rarest. They're the 1%. So they have all of their centers open, and really what they're here to do is be a mirror for their environment And if they're not healthy, happy, thriving, that means their environment is not healthy, happy, thriving. Because what happens is they take in all the energy from everyone around them. So if they're not happy or thriving, what does that mean about their environment? So when you put all of them together, you can see, and we teach this in with entrepreneurs, we're really here to support one another. The generator and manifesting generators, we're here to do the work. When we are inspired, we will work forever. We love to work. We'll work forever. The projectors oversee the big vision. They receive that energy and the vision. They guide us, kind of like managerial. So the manifestors the generators do the work. The projectors kind of see the big vision. The manifestors get things started, and then we support them. And the reflectors reflect back to us if we're doing a good job or if we're out of alignment. So it's really about supporting one another and letting us all thrive and not just individual.
So this is super helpful on many levels. It's like if you're hiring somebody, like you have a partner with, I guess, even your partnerships in like your marriage or your friendships, you can really learn so much about someone and how to have good interactions with them just through their charts, correct?
Definitely. I have learned more. I have more acceptance and compassion for my daughter, and I made decisions for her based on her chart now. Whereas with my boys, they're older, I wasn't aware of them, and I struggled a lot and I didn't understand them. Now I fully understand them. Now with my partner, my husband, we're a lot alike, and a lot of our channels come together. Like we have hanging gates that come together, which is wonderful in the beginning because it's attraction. But then what happens after you're together for a while? You butt heads. So it's like, okay, so agree to disagree. I'm not going to listen to your point. You're not going to listen to mine. We're good, you know? And then with business too, it's really great because you can really see what the other person thrives at and give them the support that they need, the time and space that they need. And then if you know that they need invitations and support like projectors do, you need to you need to let them know how wonderful they truly are. I appreciate you, you know, so you really support the individual in their energy so that everyone really does thrive and no one's exhausted or doing more than the other.
Such a beautiful flow when you can actually understand and show up in a way that feels good. So because we're talking about like conscious leaders and entrepreneurship and human design, how does this affect like our money story? We're just coming off of Money May when this is actually going to release on the actual podcast. How does this affect that ease and flow with money?
It's so interesting because that's a constant thing for everybody. And that's so good as far as the types. So if you follow your strategy and you are working on your money beliefs, because we all have money beliefs. We have beliefs that are conditioned from our parents, from society, from everybody. It's all about the awareness first. Oh, I feel scarcity right now. What if this doesn't happen? Right? So it's all about the awareness first and then following strategy. So it's awareness, trusting strategy, and following it. Now, if you have the will center or the heart center, it's called the will or the heart center ego, defined in your chart, it's the little pink one. You actually are here, and if it's connected to the throat, you are actually here to talk about money. You are here to be the resource and help support money. Whereas a lot of times, especially with healers and everyone like that, it's kind of like a hush hush. You don't want money, or I don't want money. I would do this for free if I could, or, you know, you have all of that guilt and all of those things that you shouldn't want money because if I have money, then I'm a bad person. Or what if I turn into a bad person? Or there's all these beliefs. But when you look into your chart and you really see if you have a defined will or open will, you see, oh, if you have an open will, a lot of the times I try to prove my value. So how am I going to do that with money? It's all about money. If I make this much money, I have this much value, right? Or if you have a defined will, you actually may also put that out like proving. I have to prove that I'm good enough, you know, making money. So there's many layers to that because you have the chart and then you have the money markers in the chart that you can look at. But then there's also the beliefs and the conditioning that you had growing up, and working on those. They go hand in hand. And I will say, looking at the chart for me personally, and for a lot of the people I've worked with, just seeing the centers that are white, that means there's probably conditioning there because you receive energy from other people and thoughts and beliefs are created. There's inconsistency. You can almost let go of like, oh, you know what? That isn't me. Like, I have variable energy there. That belief about myself is not true. That is something I've created. So I will say that when you get to see your chart, sometimes you can start to release that automatically. It obviously still comes up, but it's like I said, the awareness working through each time that it comes up for you. And eventually it will stop coming up.
Oh, I'm like, there's so much. There's so many things. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, it really is permission to be yourself and to allow ease in your life.
Mm-hmm. We all deserve ease. And, we really are supposed to have ease. But we feel like, at least I felt this way. I felt like, okay, well, I'll have ease after I get to a certain point. But you never get to that point. You never. Because you're doing it out of alignment. So there's struggle. And then when you get to that point, you continue to want more or need validation, or because you haven't healed. So you aren't aware of some of these things are coming up. So when you learn about your type and strategy and your centers, you're able to trust, follow strategy, and then that sustainability and ease comes. But I will say, with that also comes the mind, because it's like, wait a minute, I'm not doing enough. It's too easy because now it's easy and it's sustainable, but yet you're making more money, you're making more collaborations, you're making more connections than you ever did before. But now you're saying you're not doing enough because it's easy. So then there's another condition to work on and letting it be easy. You deserve easiness.
For those in the back, say it again. You deserve easiness.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of those, like, mic drop. Okay, we could be done, because that right there is such a powerful statement in itself. And what you were saying about it, and we're in hustle culture right now. And breaking the stigma of hustle culture is, it's going to take some work, but I think that, like you're doing, leaning into this human design and trusting self and understanding the strategy, we can actually break that hustle culture. Let's dish it. Let's just say no more burnout. Let's lean in.
Yes, definitely. And that's part of what I'm really drawn to do, is trying to connect with as many people as I possibly can with this, because, I will say some people look at me like, is this really true? Come on. They still don't believe that. And that's fine. They can't, because it's still seeding. Well, maybe it's true. Maybe you'll come back to it in a couple of years, just like I did, right? It took me a little bit of time. It'll come to them when it's right timing. So and like I mentioned before when we talked, before this started, I really feel like people are really starting to have more of an open mind and more of an open perspective in what we can really create in our life and how much impact we really can have. And it's not like, some people want impact like up in front, and that's actually in their chart. They're made for that impact up in front. Some, like me, I'm made for the impact that is behind the scenes. I want to impact people, lift them up. I want them to be thriving, and in that, I get to be thriving. So when you think about it, we're really all here, when we're aligned and being authentic, we're really all here to support one another, to be of service, to love, to accept, to work together. That's really what is going to fulfill all of us. But we're so stuck in I need to be successful, I need to do this, right? But when you start opening up to that other, that's where the ease comes in. You don't have to be 100% all the time. You get to take time off and still be supported.
That's something I am working on deeply right now, is taking the time off. I am I am definitely always burning. My husband's like, "Are you ever going to take a real vacation and leave your laptop behind?" I'm like, "Yes, that's my goal for this year, is to take a real vacation."
Okay, so let's make that happen.
Right. I feel like the magic will happen. Just every time I stop and take that pause. You're right. You reset. And as even though I'm not, one of the, I forget who you said needed the naps all the time. I'm like, I feel like as a
Manifester.
mini Jen, there's times that I'm like, I need to just take a nap and I'm recharged and I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that goes for all of them. When we're going, because it even goes when you have a defined will too, like that little one that I was talking about, that little triangle. The willpower is really about being able to push through. You have willpower, right? Well, society tells us we all have willpower, that we should all just push through, right? But when you look at a chart, you'll see that a lot of people don't have that defined. So what that truly means is they don't have the willpower to push through. And then what happens when they don't push through? They make the belief, what is wrong with me? Why can't I exercise all the time? Why can't I follow through? It's because they're not inspired. They have to be inspired and follow their strategy. And if they do that, they'll have the willpower to push through because it's what they want to do. Now, with the people that have the defined willpower, I have the defined willpower, we can push through, even if we don't want to do it. Now, that doesn't mean we should. So for us, we can burn ourselves out because we don't recognize when we're pushing through. We're not resting. We're still supposed to rest, even though we have that willpower. So anytime I'm tired, I sit back and I ask myself, am I using my will? And then if I am, I try to rearrange my day. And if I can't, I make sure the next day I take time off. Because if you overuse your willpower, you can get very sick. Like you'll burn yourself out and you'll get sick. I've done that. I've done that. So I was sick for numerous years because of just living in fight or flight my entire life. And now I love to not do anything sometimes. It's awesome.
I'm working on that. That's really a goal of mine, because I've lived sick for so long, because I do. It's like 110% in everything. Like I don't do anything. I'm the kid that if I came home with something less than an A, I grounded myself. My parents didn't. I was that student. I'm like, okay, let's just hang out. Let's just be with
I
ease
would
and flow.
love to see your fear gates. I'd love to see which fear gates, because perfectionism is showing up right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm like, and it's so funny because my branding is perfectly imperfect entrepreneur.
So there's something there. And that's another thing. Like, so you intuitively already know, right?
Yes.
Right.
It's that aligned when you take the pause. And I know that you have an academy, the Aligned Living Academy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's what with Annalena, she's my business partner. We started Aligned Living Academy because we both feel like human design is such a powerful tool. And we felt like we could not make the impact that we really want to alone. Like individually doing our courses or individually doing our readings, there's so much, it's like sustainability, right? The energy sustainability, we just couldn't do it. So when we got together, we're both 2-4 manifesting generators. So we love to respond, we love to hermit away, and then we love to network. So we really work well together. And we created Aligned Living Academy. So what this truly is the first thing that we've launched is the Aligned Living Human Design Certification. And what that is for coaches, entrepreneurs, even professionals to learn about human design and bring it into their containers so that they can bring it to their clients. Because remember, I told you, I'm the backseat leader. Like I want to be behind the scenes, but still be a leader. Like I have a lot of leadership in my chart, but it's not up in front. So how else to be a great leader than to help teach others human design so they bring it into their container so they can help every single one of their clients, you know? And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience, because the way that this has happened, I want to share this because I know we're talking about entrepreneurship and the way that we work together. We started our business, like I said, in February. We got the LLC done. We had a masterclass March 3rd. Okay. So it's February, March. We talked about it maybe 2 months before that. We had people start to sign up for our first cohort, March, probably 7th. And then for our first cohort, we have 8 people that signed up, and we started at the end of March. So it was quick. And it was because we responded, we rested when we needed to, we let ourselves be in the flow when we needed to, and we did the work on our own. Like, we understood our own charts enough and our own triggers. Like, there's times that we come up and she's like, oh, I'm having a money thing, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having a trigger with a relationship. So we're able to work through that and then bring that to other coaches so they can bring it into their containers. And I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit, and her horn. The experience has been wonderful, and we've had such beautiful feedback with what we've given this. We didn't even realize how much we were giving in this certification, but we're like, oh my gosh, we just gave all 4 levels of what we just learned in 4 years in this certification. But the reason we did that is because we really feel like we want to help change the world. We want to help change the awareness of who we truly are, help people love each other, help people make money, help people be successful and not burned out or sick, so they can live their life and have their business that they want.
And you can't fail with a mission like that. There's just no way.
No, because it's all of service, and it's all through love, and it's all through connection and support, and I know I can't say this for her, but I do know that's what we both really do stand for. It is really through learning about yourself that you create the impact that you really want. And I will say in the Aligned Living certification as well, we also teach you about you. Like, it's not just about how you can do this for others. Like, you're doing the work on yourself too, because you know what, when you get out of that certification, your business is going to also expand, because you're going to be a different person. You're going to know more about yourself.
Which leads to those big quantum leaps.
Exactly. With ease. With
ease and flow and just everything, all the juiciness.
And connection.
Oh yes. Connection is a huge, like, I've been introducing myself lately. I was like, hi, I'm Jen. I'm your land mermaid connector of humans. And I don't know where that came from, but like, I hate titles, and I'm like, yes, it's all about connection. And that's one of my gifts, is connecting humans. I love connecting to humans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that means you've done a lot of work on yourself, because a lot of people have a lot of trust stuff. So be able to connect with people, that means you've worked a lot on your trust, which is beautiful, because that's a lot of what a lot of people struggle with, is trust.
Well, I didn't even know I was working on it, but that's good to hear. So where can somebody find you?
Awesome. Yeah. So you can find me at Miranda-Mitchell.com. That is my own personal website. You can find out information there. Or if you want to look into the certification, you can go to the alignedlivingacademy.com.
Perfect. And I will make sure to get all your information in the show notes, because if you don't know anything about human design, you need to. It really was that moment that I gave myself permission to lean into the crazy energy that came from my poor brain. And I finally let go of everyone else's strategy when I was like, oh, look, this makes sense. Yes.
And I just want to say this too. Like, I will when I've done foundational readings with people, almost every time they're crying, because they feel seen for the first time. And they actually feel like their DNA opens up to things that they've always known, but didn't know they knew. But when they heard it, they knew. So it's almost magical in the way that it does occur. It's very opening. And then some people are not quite as ready, and that's okay too, because there's different layers that you can learn. You can just do your strategy if you want, see how that feels. You can go deeper if you want. So it's not like a all or nothing. you can definitely just dip your toe in, start reading about it, see if it interests you. You don't have to dive in right away.
Depending on your strategy.
Yes, depending on your strategy, and also the 48, because if you have the 48, a lot of the times you dive in.
So if someone were to walk away with just that one little pivotal mic drop moment, what would you want them to remember?
It would be that your purpose is who you be and not what